The Prairie Traveler, a handbook for overland expeditions. Chapter 5. Bivouacs. In traveling with pack animals, it is not always convenient or practicable to transport tents, and the traveler's ingenuity is often taxed in devising the most available means for making himself comfortable and secure against winds and storms. Experienced voyagers can quickly erect comfortable shelters using only materials provided by nature. Almost all people in different parts of the world have their own peculiar methods of bivouacking. Fortunately for travelers upon the plains, the atmosphere is pure and dry during the greater part of the year, with little rain or dew and no marshes to generate malaria. The night air is soft and exhilarating, and many prefer sleeping in the open to the confined air of a tent or house. Shelter becomes necessary only during the rainy season. With pack trains, various substitutes for tents must be improvised. A very secure protection against storms is the half-faced camp, made by planting two upright forked poles, laying a cross pole in the forks, and stretching a gutta-percha cloth, canvas, or blankets from it at an angle of about 45 degrees to the ground, fastened with pins. A fire in front carries smoke away. This shelters 3 or 4 men effectively against wind and rain. Tente d'abri. The French troops in the Crimea used the tente d'abri, or shelter tent, composed of square pieces of cloth with buttons and buttonholes. It is pitched by planting 2 upright stakes connected by a cord, then laying the canvas over the rope and securing the lower edges to the ground. This provides basic defense against weather. For permanent camps, a shallow basement is excavated and earth banked outside. On marches, the pieces are carried by soldiers. It served as the main shelter for much of the French army until late in the campaign. Similar, simple shelter tents can be adapted for prairie use with pack trains when full tents are impractical. Gutta-percha knapsack tent. A tent knapsack invented by Mr. John Ryder of New York combines shelter and packing utility. Each piece is a gutta-percha sheet that converts into a waterproof knapsack. When fastened together, several pieces form a larger sheet stretched over a rope between 2 poles or rifles, pinned at the sides. A sheet of 4 knapsacks covers space for 5 to 7 men. It protects against dampness and serves multiple purposes, including as a shawl. Tested and recommended by a board of Army officers, it offers advantages for prairie travelers with pack trains. Compact, durable, and versatile for both marching and shelter. Comanche Lodge. The Comanche Lodge, used by prairie tribes and traders, consists of 8 to 10 straight peeled poles about 20 feet long, covered with buffalo hides or canvas. 3 poles form a tripod, with others laid into the forks and spread equidistant. A line secures the framework. The covering is raised, spread, and pegged, with an open apex and flaps for draft. A fire in the center provides warmth, with smoke drawn out effectively. This conical structure offers excellent shelter in all weather, and is particularly warm in winter when properly managed. Canvas serves as a good substitute for hides. Sibley tent. The Sibley tent, invented by Major H. H. Sibley, uses a single upright standard on an iron tripod instead of multiple poles. The tripod supports cooking and folds for packing. It shelters 12 men comfortably, and was used successfully by the Army in Utah during severe winter conditions. For more room, it can be suspended from an external tripod. A basement excavation adds warmth and space in cold weather. Its design allows an internal fire with good draft from the wings, providing superior comfort, ventilation, and economy compared to many other tents for cold weather campaigning. Camp furniture. Portable camp furniture enhances comfort on the plains. Illustrations show camp chairs of various designs, lightweight and foldable. A camp table provides a stable surface for meals or writing. Field cots offer elevated sleeping platforms. A camp bureau organizes personal items efficiently. A mess chest keeps cooking utensils and supplies secure and accessible. These items, though simple, greatly improve daily life in bivouac without adding excessive weight when properly designed for packing. Litters. Litters are essential for transporting the sick or wounded. A horse litter uses 2 poles attached to saddles on 2 horses, with a bed suspended between. A hand litter, carried by men, serves for shorter distances. Proper construction and padding ensure the patient rides with minimal jolting. These conveyances allow continued movement of the party even when members cannot ride or walk. Rapid traveling. For rapid traveling with pack animals, loads must be light and well balanced. Select strong, conditioned mules or horses. Make early marches and keep drives moderate to preserve animal strength. Carry minimal but essential supplies. Experienced packers can move swiftly over long distances by maintaining good order, frequent short halts for grazing, and careful attention to animal condition. This method suits scouts, messengers, or light expeditions where speed is critical. Fuel. Fuel is not always abundant upon the prairies, and the traveler should make himself acquainted with the different kinds that are to be found and the best methods of using them. Buffalo chips, bois de vache, form the principal fuel in many parts of the country where timber is scarce. When dry, they burn well and make a hot fire with little smoke. They are gathered and piled up at the camping places. Dry grass and weeds are also used, but they burn rapidly and require constant attention. In wooded districts, cottonwood, willow, and other softwoods are found along the streams. These make a quick fire, but the wood is soon consumed. Mesquite wood, where it grows, is excellent fuel. In the mountains, pine and cedar are abundant and make good fires. The traveler should always provide himself with a sufficient supply of fuel before night, as it is often difficult to find it after dark. A small hatchet or axe is indispensable for cutting wood. Making fires. The proper method of making fires is of great importance in camp. The fire should be built in a place sheltered from the wind, and the wood arranged so as to give the most heat with the least smoke. For cooking, a small fire with coals is best. For warmth at night, a larger fire with logs or buffalo chips is used. The Indian method of building a fire with the ends of sticks toward the center, pushing them in as they burn, is economical and gives a steady heat. A fire should never be left burning when the camp is abandoned, as it may set the prairie on fire. When fuel is scarce, the fire should be carefully extinguished with earth or sand. Matches should be carried in a waterproof case, and a small piece of punk or tinder kept for starting fires in wet weather. Fires on the prairies. Fires on the prairies are a frequent and serious danger, especially in the fall when the grass is dry. They are often started by lightning, by careless travelers, or by Indians. When a prairie fire is seen approaching, the grass should be burned around the camp in a circle large enough to afford protection. The party should then move to the burned ground. If there is time, a backfire may be started to meet the advancing flames. Animals should be secured in the corral or driven to the burned area. Prairie fires travel with great rapidity when driven by the wind, and great vigilance is necessary to avoid them. The smoke can often be seen at a great distance, giving time for preparation. In the spring, when the grass is green, the danger is much less. Jerking meat. Jerking meat is the best method of preserving it upon the prairies when salt is scarce. The meat is cut into thin slices and hung upon a framework of poles over a slow fire or in the sun until thoroughly dried. It should be turned frequently and protected from flies. When properly jerked, it will keep for a long time and is very nutritious. It can be eaten dry or boiled with water and flour to make soup. Buffalo, deer, and antelope meat are excellent when jerked. The tongues are particularly good when cured and smoked. Jerked meat is light and compact and forms an important part of the supplies for long journeys. With a supply of this article, the traveler is never entirely dependent upon game. Making lariats. Lariats are indispensable for securing animals at night. They should be made of rawhide or of good hemp rope. Rawhide lariats are very strong when properly prepared, but they shrink when wet and are liable to kink. Hemp lariats are more convenient and do not shrink. The lariat should be about 40 feet long, with a strong loop or ring at one end. It is used by fastening one end to the animal's neck and the other to a stake driven in the ground, or by tying to the forefoot. When picketing, the lariat should allow the animal sufficient room to graze, but not enough to reach the wagons or entangle himself. Spare lariats should always be carried. Making caches. When it becomes necessary to leave supplies or baggage upon the road, a cache is made by digging a hole in the ground, depositing the articles, and covering them carefully so as to leave no trace. The best place for a cache is in a dry, sandy soil where there is no water. The hole should be dug in the shape of a bottle with a narrow neck. The earth is removed carefully and spread upon a cloth or blanket. The articles are placed in the cache, covered with earth, and the surface restored to its original appearance. A fire may be built over the spot or other means used to conceal it. Caches are often made in the banks of streams or under rocks. With proper care, articles left in caches will remain secure for a long time. Disposition of firearms. Firearms should always be kept in good order and ready for instant use. When not in use, they should be placed where they will be protected from the weather and from accident. In camp, they may be stacked or leaned against the wagons with the muzzles up. At night, they should be placed within easy reach. Never leave a loaded gun where it can fall or be discharged accidentally. When traveling, the arms should be carried in the wagons or on the persons of the men so as to be always accessible. Colt's revolvers. Colt's revolvers are the best arms for prairie service. They are reliable, durable, and of sufficient caliber for killing large game or for defense against Indians. Each man should have a revolver and be practiced in its use. The revolver should be kept clean and oiled, and the cylinders loaded with care. Spare cylinders and ammunition should be carried. The revolver is particularly useful in close encounters and when mounted. Gun accidents. Gun accidents are a frequent cause of injury and death upon the plains. They generally result from carelessness in handling loaded weapons. Never point a gun at a person, even if supposed to be unloaded. Never draw a gun from a wagon or scabbard with the muzzle toward yourself or others. Always examine the gun before loading or cleaning. These simple precautions will prevent many sad accidents. Trailing. Trailing, or following the tracks of men or animals, is an important art for prairie travelers. Indians and experienced frontiersmen can follow a trail that is almost imperceptible to others. The direction of the trail, the age of the tracks, and the number of persons or animals can be determined with great accuracy. The traveler should practice trailing whenever opportunity offers, as it may be of great service in recovering lost animals or in discovering the presence of Indians. Indian sagacity. The sagacity of the Indians in all matters relating to the plains is remarkable. They can read the signs of the country with wonderful precision. They know the habits of animals, the changes of weather, and the character of the country. Their powers of endurance and their skill in hunting and war are unsurpassed. The traveler will do well to observe their methods and profit by their example in many things. A friendly Indian guide is often of great value to an expedition.